Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the very first of our Delta Week calls. I'm so excited that you would take the time out to learn a little bit more about the amazing products that ASEA has to offer. We have some very special guests with us this evening. As we get started, I'd like to let you know that my name is Karen Riley. I'm the Regional Vice President of Sales for the United States here at ASEA. Been with the company for just over 6 years, and I've never before come across any kind of product or technology in any industry that even compares to what we have to offer here at ASEA. You are joining this call because someone thought enough about you to recommend learning a little bit more about these amazing ASEA products. The first part of our call is going to be focused on ASEA Redox Supplement and a little bit more about the Redox biochemistry. And then the second part of our call is going to be about our new line, Renew Advanced. I have two very special guests with us this evening, Dr. Rob Ward and Ann Billings, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them as we get started. First thing that I'd like to do is introduce you a little bit to ASEA. You know, the ASEA mission is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. You've been invited to this call to learn a little bit how we are fulfilling on that very mission. The ASEA vision statement is to become the recognized global leader in cellular health and redox-based technologies and achieve worldwide distribution of ASEA's life-changing products, financial opportunity, and culture. ASEA offers a variety of different cellular health products. When I first started at this company 6 years ago, we had the ASEA Redox Supplement. 2 years ago, we introduced our first topical product with the technology, which was Renew 28. And this very year, in fact, just a few weeks ago, we introduced a new line, the Renew Advanced line, which offered a moisturizer, a cleanser, and the Intense Redox Serum. And we're going to learn all about those 5 products on today's call. First, we want to start talking about ASEA Redox Supplement. One thing that you're going to learn over the course of our time here this evening is that this product is absolutely unique. It's patent protected. It's validated. It has credible science and research behind it. It is cutting edge science, which is probably why you may or may not have heard of redox science before. And it's exclusive to ASEA. In fact, it's so exclusive, we're going to show you a little bit more about how this product is manufactured in order to keep those patents protected. In order to help us understand a little bit about redox technology, we've invited Dr. Robertson Ward on the line with us tonight. He received his undergraduate BS with distinctions from Iowa State University. He went to medical school at the University of Illinois in Chicago, and he was at the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine for his family practice residency. But here's where Rob's bio gets really exciting. Dr. Ward's been in private practice since 1984. He's the owner of Project Reach Clinics. These clinics have an emphasis on addiction treatment. He's the owner and director of Berea BioBalance Clinics, with an emphasis on anti-aging and functional medicine. He's been an instructor at the University of Kentucky. He's a diplomat for the American Academy of Family Practice since 1984. He's a fellow with the American Academy of Family Practice since 1992. He's a member of the Kentucky Academy of Family Practice since '84, and he's a member of the Institute for Functional Medicine since 2007. He holds active medical licenses in 3 states, Kentucky, Ohio, and Utah. He's a published author, and he's the owner-operator of an amazing website called theredoxdoc.com. I consider Dr. Ward to be an expert in the field of redox biochemistry, which is why we've invited him on the call tonight. So Rob, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Why don't you share a little bit with our audience this very, very complex science in only ways that you can, because I know that after I hear how you explain redox biochemistry, it makes a lot more sense than when I have to read it in a textbook. So we're so grateful that you would join us tonight, Rob. The time is yours.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Karen. It's an honor to be here to just share a little bit about what I know and what I've come to learn about the science of redox technology. Let me just get my screen up and running. How about that?
Looks great, Rob. Thank you.
All right. So what I'd like to do is set some basic learning objectives. Let's spend some time learning a little bit about cellular health, the interface between cell health and redox science in terms of general health, and then understand some human illnesses in terms of redox a perspective, some implications that might revolve around replenishing our redox molecules, and then some research that supports that concept of supplementation. And then we'll sum it up with some ideas and possibilities. So here we go. When I first learned about the idea of supplementing my body with redox molecules, it was in 2010. And I didn't know that there was an entire field of science that had emerged since I was in college in this area, but it had. And because I had no toolbox that included redox molecules in my clinical practice, there really wasn't any relevancy to me for why I would need to know about this. But my goodness, the breadth and depth of science that revolves around redox biochemistry is astonishing. Whether it be textbooks, medical journals, there's a medical journal that is just devoted to antioxidants and redox signaling alone. Not to mention conferences around the world that delve into this whole new exploding field of science. There's well over 100 published articles every month on this topic. So it's a huge thing. Okay, cell basics. Cells have very complicated machinery within them, as this diagram illustrates, and its design is to stay in balance. It's driven to stay in balance. The cell is a self-contained little entity, much like we are. It is self-protecting and knows how to absorb nutrients and get rid of waste products. So these things are where redox chemistry comes into play. So redox molecules are prevalent and interacting with cells as they represent catalysts in every single chemical reaction that occurs within a cell. They are a molecular resource for other chemical reactions. They are used to transmit cellular information within a cell and between cells. And they represent probably the smallest common denominator of molecules that are involved in chemical reactions within our cellular life. So cells metabolize, and the Krebs cycle is this process where cells take energy from food and convert it into cellular energy, or ATP. This is the way cells actually breathe. So we breathe as an organism, but actually cells, this is their process. It's called cellular respiration, in other words. And so redox molecules are created in the mitochondria where this Krebs cycle is taking action. These tiny molecules are created millions of times a second. There are many kinds of redox molecules. Most of the ones that we have an interest in are combinations of oxygen, hydrogen, and chloride atoms. And they have different charges. Some are positively charged, some are negatively charged, depending on the job that they have to do. So there are two categories of actions of redox molecules. In one category, they activate or catalyze the work of an antioxidant. And so the antioxidant molecules in our body, like glutathione or superoxide dismutase, they're like little rust stoppers, and they improve the way the cell works. They get rid of the rusting going on, or they might detoxify a free radical, and they improve our cellular redox potential, so we stay in balance. The second job for redox molecules is the activation of messaging inside of cells and between cells. So cells depend on being able to interact with other cells and being able to take care of business. In order to do that, there's like a conversation going on within and between cells. Without that information, the cell doesn't know how to adapt or improve or repair itself. So it's critical that we have the ability to communicate, and these little molecules are the messengers for our cells. So in a healthy cell, redox signaling molecules are in a homeostatic balance. Everybody's in balance. So there's an equal number of red and blue triangles and trapezoids in this little cell diagram. So you're seeing the mitochondria creating these little molecules, and they're going to be helpful in dealing with supplying information and resources to the antioxidant shield around the nucleus. And everybody's happy. However, in a damaged cell, you're going to see a buildup of the oxidant redox molecules as a result of damages that might have occurred from an infection or a breakdown in resources, and that nucleus is being damaged, and the cell membrane might get damaged, and my goodness, we're way out of balance. So let's step back a little bit further and take a look at ourselves and talk about a concept of distinguishing between aging and illness. It helps us to understand this in terms of redox chemistry. So aging is defined best as cells being sluggish. They're not doing their designated tasks. They look good, but they're not functioning well. And they might need to produce a hormone. Well, they're not. They're not going to produce it because they're aging and not doing as good a job. Illness, on the other hand, is a disease state where the cell actions are really causing trouble. And that sort of action is action in a pathological manner, creating major imbalances in the way cells work. So aging, therefore, isn't really a sickness. It's natural. It implies a diminished level of function. And we might identify this as developing wrinkles, having a less robust muscle mass as we age, and having somewhat diminished energy because we might not have as many mitochondria per cell as we age, and so we're just a little slower. Like, for example, a marathon runner might want to qualify for the Boston Marathon, but if they're older, they get a slower time to make the playing field equal, because we know that an aging muscle, it doesn't have the same degree of strength and recovery as a younger muscle. So illness, on the other hand, is a state of imbalance. Cells are acting in wrong ways, not just failing to act. And this would cause, conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, coronary artery disease, asthma. These are all examples of illness. So now let's step back a little bit and look at this at a redox basis for illness. So certain conditions that are like on the left-hand side, hypertension, heart disease, Alzheimer's, stroke, obesity, type 2 diabetes, these are examples of oxidative stress, a buildup of oxidants in the cells that leads to imbalances and leads to a breakdown in cell function in a disease-like manner. On the same or flip side of that, the conditions on the right-hand side are examples of inflammatory conditions where there's a breakdown in the immune system and breakdown in messaging, and this causes autoimmune or a failure to respond or be able to produce proper balances of hormones, even a breakdown in the thyroid, for example, where the thyroid either produces too much or too little of the thyroid hormone. So this is a fun way to look at illnesses in terms of redox molecules. We can take a look at our cardiovascular system, for example, and define its health and balance based on redox capacities. So the cell vessels are lined with endothelial cells that need to take up nutrients and transport oxygen. All of this is based on redox chemistry. And so every illness like that can be categorized either as a breakdown in oxidative stress or inflammation. So let's take a look at some scientific studies on redox molecules and their impact on cells. This was a study where redox molecule supplement was applied in a tissue culture to human lung lining cells, the endothelial cells of our lungs. They're very special cells. They know how to repair themselves and replace themselves. And when the molecules were exposed to these endothelial cells, there was a huge improvement in the translocation of certain translocation factors. And this demonstrated an improvement in the way our antioxidants worked. So in this case, glutathione and superoxide dismutase production was enhanced by over 500%. And this was shown with a Western blot technique to demonstrate this improvement. So it was done with a placebo and a control. In another study here, this study looked at the toxicities of redox molecules, again, with regard to these endothelial cells. Could there be any harm in supplementing redox molecules? In fact, what if we were to expose them to, 4 times the concentration that we would normally expose these cells with normal oral intake of a redox supplement? In this study, in vitro, in tissue cultures, these little sensitive lung lining cells showed no signs of toxicity, even at very, very high concentrations. So it's safe to say that supplementing with redox molecules is not only natural, but these cells are native to our body, and these molecules are native to our body, and thus there's no concern or worry by the body about exposure to them. So Dr. David Nieman has done several studies on redox molecules, and in particular the redox molecules in the ASEA product. And he's a well-written and authored scientist who's been in the field of exercise physiology for well over 25 years. And so he sits on the board of many review boards for medical journal articles, and he's an author of over 9 books, and quite an athlete himself, I might add. He's running many, many marathons. He works in North Carolina in the Metabolomics Laboratory at North Carolina Research Campus with the David Murdoch Research Institute. He designed a study that was done not that long ago, where he took well over 100 subjects, and these were women ages 20 through 75 with many risk factors, some of them who were overweight substantially. He did a double-blind crossover placebo trial, which is usually this kind of science he likes to do. And these women were given 2 ounces twice a day of the redox supplement over a period of 90 days. And he was looking at safety issues, changes in any kind of chemistry. One of the chemistries he looked at was oxidative LDL, and another marker for health, which is called 8-hydroxydeoxyguanosine. And it's a mouthful, I might say. Basically, it's an oxidized nucleoside of DNA. And so when these are lowered, we are going to be at less risk. So the results showed that oxidized LDL was 5 units per liter reduced, and that had a p-score, statistical score, of less than 0.017. And of course, larger doses may have had more of an effect. But to change our LDL score by this much is very significant to our health. In addition, the oxidized nucleoside of DNA was reduced by 6 nanograms per ml with a statistically significant score of 0.043. This is still with 4 ounces a day. And this is a very important biomarker. It represents, if this is elevated or higher, you're at more risk for cancer, atherosclerotic vascular disease, and diabetes. So it's interesting to contemplate what will happen to ourselves as over years we supplement our bodies with redox molecules and provide resources that are going to improve our LDL scores, our 8-hydroxydeoxyguanosine scores, and not to mention the enhancement of the effectiveness of our antioxidants in our body. So this is a graphic illustration of what it showed, and as you can see, the difference between placebo and the application of the redox supplement is amazing. So in summary, I just think it's important to point out that we've got a very unique opportunity to be able to share and take a redox supplement that is part of an exploding field of new science. This technology operates at a very deep physiological level in our body that is upstream functionally from everything. And the impact means that when we take this supplement, there's so much of everything that's downstream. It seems as though it enhances health in just a multitude of ways, and it actually does. And the profoundness is substantial. In fact, in my own body, as I began using this nearly 6 years ago, I had noticed improvement in my joint health. I've noticed improvement in my sleep, improvement in my digestive health, and my ability to recover from physical activities like running and hiking and so forth. It's dramatic. In fact, there's been a few occasions when I've gone and kind of gotten busy and sidetracked and didn't drink this. And it truly made a difference. And when I realized what I had done, I quickly got back on track, and I felt a substantial change. Anecdotal, but true. So the ASEA company has asked me to continue to be an educational resource to people who are interested in learning. And so this website is useful to people who are wanting to share redox molecules with others. It doesn't discuss ASEA as a product. It talks about the science. There are resources across the toolbar that you can see where it reviews the redox basis of illness like I just talked about. There's a monthly newsletter that you can sign up for. There are video courses you can subscribe to. It's a lot of fun. This is an example of the newsletter, which is free, that you can get sent to you every month. This happened to be on the topic of oxidative stress. So I hope that this has been helpful and that it's not been confusing, but perhaps just provocative enough to get you to think a little bit about what might be possible for your health or someone else's. And if this is fun and interesting to you, surely explore the science more at theredoxdoc.com. There's a lot of information there that I think is useful and fun to share with others. So Karen, I again want to thank you for inviting me on the call, and I want to thank those that are involved with sharing this science with others, just to say thanks, because I know what it has meant for me and many of my patients, and if this can be something that others want to do, well, this is kind of what life's all about, helping one another.
It certainly is. Thank you so much, Rob. We appreciate all the work that you've done to help promote and educate everyone on redox biochemistry. And, you know, I just want to preface your comments here, or actually make a post note on your comments. Redox biochemistry is an emerging field of science. And in fact, if you went to Google right now, you could type in redox signaling and find more than 3 million results. This emerging field of science is not new to researchers and scientists with over 3 million results, but it is new to many of us who have never heard of it before, and it may get a little confusing. The punchline to redox signaling and the ASEA supplement is that it helps your body do what it was designed to do. Our bodies know exactly what they need to do to heal. And this product gets right to the foundation of every single one of those 75 trillion cells. You know, the power plants of our body is the mitochondria. And without the ability to have these signaling messengers, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, if our bodies stopped producing signals on what to do, how to do, and when to do, life would actually cease. Is that a true statement?
Within minutes. Within
minutes. So the world's first and foremost redox signaling research is happening today, and we have the world's first and only way to supplement our bodies with this amazing technology. So if you haven't heard of it, you know, you're not alone. It really hasn't hit mainstream until now. And with the help of you and those that invited you on this call tonight, we're going to help it hit mainstream a little bit faster and a little bit harder. So I want to thank you again, Rob, for joining us today and sharing a little bit about redox biochemistry. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next speaker here, but I want to share just a moment about the commitment that we have at ASEA to protect and promote this incredible technology. What you're looking at right now is a certificate from the NSF International group. It says that ASEA's production facility, which is located in Pleasant Grove, Utah, is GMP certified. Now, GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practices, and it is regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. Now, ASEA's supplement is not FDA approved, but we do have an FDA compliant facility, and we do that so that we can protect the patents, we can protect the quality of every single bottle of ASEA Redox supplement that leaves our facility. I also want to share that if the science that Rob just shared with us is a little bit too technical and you're going to take some time to review the redoxdoc.com website, I wanted to share a little bit of peace of mind. What you'll find on the bottle of every ASEA supplement and on the pouch of every ASEA supplement is this little bioagilytics symbol. Now, who is bioagilytics and why does that matter to you? Bioagilytics is a partner to 21 of the top 25 global pharmaceutical and biotech companies. They average 15 years of bench experience. They're comprised of 50% of their staff that have PhDs or master's degrees at the scientist level. They have scientific leadership that is world-renowned in the area of immunogenetics, PK, and PD, and they have an esteemed industry expert in immunoassays, biomarkers, and biosimilars. So what does that mean to you? Well, that means that Bioagilytics tests and certifies that the ASEA Redox supplement does in fact contain stable, balanced redox signaling messengers, critical to the foundation of your health. Whether you're in great health and want to keep being in great health, whether you have some health challenges and you want to work on those health challenges with a native product instead of pharmaceuticals, or whether you're an athlete looking for better endurance and better recovery, the ASEA Redox supplement is something that everyone should be taking. So I'm grateful that I had an opportunity to share some time tonight here with Rob. That concludes the portion on Redox ASEA supplement. So if you joined us this evening just to hear a little bit more about the science of redox biochemistry and how ASEA Redox supplement can benefit you, I'd like to invite you to get back to the person who invited you to this call and make sure that you know how to add this great supplement to part of your daily routine.